Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I am, as ever and always, your host, the Lore Runner. Before we go any further, as usual, I want to open with asking to... I'm still trying to get hold of a few people. I've gotten hold of a decent number. We're kind of down. I still need to get hold of Nick Skatoon, SJ_NM, Ten-Headed Hydra, Lord of Mordor 007, Durable Diction, Jazzy Too Good, Light 2099, Jeffrey Cheney, Floating Triangles, Not Blessed, Muddy 120, Death Eagle 007, and Russ. If you're any of these people, please get a hold of me in some manner that you have. You are still people who have put money towards a run that has been axed for various reasons. Having started with that, getting that out of the way, Loopy has decided that Loopy hates me. And that's okay. I don't really mind. Thank you, Loopy Cutie, as always. Much obliged. And I put that towards Halo Wars 2. The upcoming page got a little bit of an overhaul in the last week. I don't know if we're going to stick to this or not. It's really easy to hit the undo button on it. Feel free to check it out. Let me know what you think. But that's something that we could do going forward. It's relatively easy to do. So again, let me know what you think. Speaking of website updates, for those of you not aware, the Cordons project has been firmly and formally moved onto the website. It was a monumental hassle because it was just, I think I spent like a total of 2 or 3 hours just doing all of the manual work that was necessary in order to get the Cordons project onto the website, but it's there. So anybody wanting to be involved in that or part of that, that's there. I suppose I shouldn't say it that way, because just the finished products are on the website now. If you want to be involved, well, that's going to be something that's going to be on Discord. I think, for fun, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a variable to the Cordons project, which I don't want to say just yet, because I'm going to be doing that today. I guess I can just tell you, it's whatever, there's no reason to hold it back, because it's going to be releasing today, hopefully, because I've got theater work to do today, and I've got Cordons work to do today. I'm thinking, just for fun, for every game I review, I'm going to go ahead and pick out a song and try to do a Cordons of that song, just to kind of mark the progress through the reviews, you know? I'm only going to start that with Pokemon Black and White, but I think I am going to do that going forward. That might be fun. Now, if you excuse me, I have to pull Micromoto's eye out here. This is going to be really gross. Ugh, there we go. There we go. Let's just kind of put that over there. There we go. So the upcoming page has been updated. The Cordons project is on the website. I also spent hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that, working on something else. Now this wasn't as hard or as bad, but so many people whined and complained about me delisting old videos, even though I have legitimate and valid reasons to do so, regardless of my own hatred of my own videos. So, just to try and reach out and to have a compromise, I went ahead and set up something on the website called the Old Archives, which is a way which you can still watch the old videos, and it's not going to cause any problems with the YouTube side of things. So, that's now a thing, and I'm mentioning it here because nobody noticed it. Now, oh god, I said the upcoming page, didn't I? I meant the list, not the upcoming. The upcoming page hasn't changed at all. Sorry. God, you can tell I'm an idiot this morning. The list has been updated, not the upcoming page. Not the queue. Oh, by the way, happy Easter. Sorry, I actually forgot. Sorry, I've got something that's on my mind right now. Happy Easter. This is going to be kind of a brief lore week, and there will be no Star Trek stream this evening, obviously, because it's Easter. Anyways, so, to rehash, there are still people I'm trying to get a hold of. Happy Easter. The list has been updated. The Old Archives has been updated. The Cordons page has been updated. Okay, got all that out of the way. Alright, now, let's see here. let's go ahead and talk about random news. You notice I still don't have a thing here. This is going to be a pretty brief Loreweek because there's just not a lot to discuss. First thing we're going to talk about. Mr. Red is apparently blind. I mean, if you want to disperse now, go for it. I only have a couple of random things to talk about. We are going to be rushing through these and then getting on to the streaminations for today, which I'll look up what we're covering in a minute. Space Jam 2 is actually coming out. Now, the reason I say that so weirdly is, for those of you not aware, they've been working on Space Jam 2 for years and years at this point. In fact, they've been working on it so long, it used to be called Spy Jam. If you remember that. This is, I think, actually we're in the decade range now for how long it's been in development hell and hasn't gone anywhere. So imagine my surprise when they actually dropped a trailer last week and it's coming out this July. We'll see. So what they're doing is they're changing the style of it. They're changing the approach. Because instead of being, ridiculous parody film about, playing basketball with Looney Tunes, now it's going to be a ridiculous parody film that's actually a nostalgia trip. There's a term for that. I guess nostalgia trip is an accurate term. It's like Ready Player One, right? In fact, I actually went through the trailer and just wrote down every reference I caught, which includes, but are not limited to, Game of Thrones, Wizard of Oz, Batman, Iron Giant, Scooby-Doo, King Kong, Thundercats, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Mad Max, Superman and Wonder Woman, and Clockwork Orange. So, we'll see. The trailer was crap, but of course it was. It's a trailer. And as we all know, the number of trailers that are actually worth a damn are so in the minority that it's ridiculous. Do we have 3 copies of Persona 5 Strikers? Because I got rid of one of them. No? Yeah, trailers are either crap or they spoil. And there's 2 types of spoiling, too. There's the spoiling of awesome moments, and there's the spoiling of... No, there isn't, Mr. Red. What the hell? There is only one instance of Persona 5 Strikers in the spreadsheet, so I have no idea how one magically appeared on the website. Yeah, they either spoil plot points or they spoil awesome moments. The example of this, in my opinion, is Godzilla King of the Monsters just a few years ago. Because, and I kid you not, in the trailer for that film were several of the major scenes from the final battle at the very end of the film. And I know that some people are anti-spoilers, and those people can go to hell, because that is still spoiling, and that is still bullcrap. It's like getting rid... I don't even know how to put it into words. It's such bullcrap to give away... I see what happened. You'll notice there's a highlight on it, Mr. Red, and that explains it right there. And there shouldn't be. Because it gives away awesome moments, because awesome moments can be spoiled too. Imagine you walking into a game and someone's like, oh, dude, I bet you can't wait for this one boss. This one boss is going to be so awesome. It's going to be doing this thing, and there's going to be these lasers coming in. You're going to have to dodge the laser, and the whole time you're just sitting there like, shut up. Because now it's ruined, right? Because now you know it's coming. I mean, as always, whether you like spoilers or not should be up to the individual. But event spoilers are just as bad as plot spoilers. Happy Easter, Darth Medoro. And thank you, Retro Justice. Sorry I didn't say thank you earlier. You caught me in the middle of a bit of a rant there. Much obliged. I'll put that towards Super Mario Sunshine. But yeah, like... aggravating as hell. Just... I cannot... Anyways, sorry. So, screw trailers, and the trailer for Space Jam 2 is terrible. We'll see if the movie's any good. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. I mean, that's really up to my friends and family at this point, more than it is up to me. We're supposedly going to see Kong at some point in the next month, when we both have a Sunday free, which I had this Sunday free, and he didn't. So, who knows how long it's going to be. Meanwhile, let's talk about Sony. Did you know? Oh, hang on. Shikor has hit the stream brakes. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's redistribute here. So what do we got? Oh yeah, there's also Suicide Squad 2, which... I mean, they're going full ham on Suicide Squad 2, so that might be okay. But the problem is... Wait. Seriously, Shikor? Doom... okay, so one of the games that was axed, Shikor, is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. So, no. Oh, never mind. I completely misread that. God, that was formatted weird. I'd like to reallocate the amount to Fire Emblem Path of Radiance to Portal 1. Apologize. That is really weirdly allocated. Never mind. It was really weirdly formatted on my screen. I need to branch out the text if that's going to be causing an issue. Jeez Louise. Okay. So, Portal 1, Apollo Justice, Extant Perishow 2. You got it. And thank you, Velvetrix, very much for the sub, as always. I'd ask what you want to put that towards, but I know you hate me. So, I'll just put it towards something I hate. Like Bloodborne. Really not looking forward to that run. Suicide Squad 2, if it goes full ham, might actually be fun. We'll see. It has one of the characters that were awesome from the first movie, and is missing the other one. We'll see. Why is it purple? Do I need to get rid of the colors? Is that where we're at with this? I'm not even sure I'm physically capable of getting rid of the colors, because that would involve some serious overhaul. For those of you not aware, because I've gotten this question several times this week, the colors on the website indicate how much interest you guys have in a run. It's actually just an expression, a visual expression, of the number of people who've put money towards the run. Which, if you notice, is actually a number on the bar. It's like name, and then number of people, and then amount of money. And it's there. The color just indicates the number of people, whereas the fill of the bar indicates how much money. Level of interest is indicative of how many supporters have put money towards a run is right there, word for word, in the legend. So, in answer to your question, Ect, no, that is not my interest. That is your interest. My interest is tracked separately. In fact, if you scroll to the very bottom, you will see my interest, because that's a separate section now. This is Interface Design 101 right here. Oh, Endwalker. Okay, you got it. FF14. Endwalker. No, it's okay, Act. You are not the only one. That's exactly my point. If you want to see interest, if you see a little symbol on the bar, or the text looks different, or it's shaded, or it's in a completely different section, those are the runs I'm interested in. And in fact, this whole confusion is part of why I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on that particular change to the list, to make it exceptionally clear which runs I'm interested in versus, you know, the bar, which is which ones you were interested in. What was I talking about? Sony. Sony is... I mean, this is just part 2. Sony shut down the store. We already talked about that. Now, it wasn't actually 100% confirmed, although I did bother to buy a whole bunch of games last week, just in case, and download them and install them. It turns out that was a good idea because it was a valid rumor and it was actually getting shut down. That's not really the news. Hey, Sony decided to shut down their online store. That sucks. And it's stupid for reasons I've already discussed twice. No, the real reason that this is interesting is apparently several of the Vita developers specifically learned of the store shutdown when they announced it publicly. If I ever needed to prove how much of a not giving a damn that Sony has for the Vita, I think I'm just going to point to that fact going forwards. Because that's insanity. There are actually several games that were/are in development for the Vita, which are kind of like, oh god, right now, because they're effectively deciding, are we going to bother or are we going to pull the plug and just eat the cost, and that money is now burnt and never coming back. The other possibility is they could shift from the Vita to something else, but anybody who knows anything about console development will tell you hardware shifts suck. Yeah, it's actually, what Takoida's point is interesting because it depends on the specific contract. So we will see, but the possibility of legal action is not out of bounds. We'll see. We'll see what they do with this. This is stupid on so many levels. From a business perspective, from Sony perspective, from the developer's perspective, and from our perspective as the players. This is such a dumb move. Anyways. Meanwhile, there have been several studies which are now concluded as of this point in time, which now fairly definitively link loot boxes towards gambling addiction. Now, that may or may not mean anything. What this is this is another brick on the road, put simply. That's really all this actually is. But it is interesting that this is being moved forwards. That governments are continuing to get involved in video gaming, which, as I've said before, is both a good and a bad thing. It's something we've talked about on this show. You know, regulation does have benefits, and regulation also has severe detriments. It's because of the fact that it's regulated. It's the problem, right? So, this could lead to some good things, and it could lead to some terrible things, and it could lead to a whole bunch in the middle. And yeah, this also could go absolutely nowhere. That's why I said this doesn't matter yet, but there is another brick there, so if someone decides to do something eventually, one more piece of ammo, or one more piece of mortar, or however you want to think of that. What's the game, Imperial Star Destroyer? And the answer is yes, but what is the game? Because you might as well just ask me directly while I'm right here. And yeah, this is also tied into something I've been thinking about. This hasn't come up since we decided this Parasite Eve. Oh, I already have that. Isn't that already on the list? It might not be, now I'm thinking about it. Oh, it's in the queue! That's right. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's already funded. And it is, it's right there, Parasite Eve. Yeah. Done! There you go, Imperial Star Destroyer. We'll be playing in a few months. We'll see. This is a whole bunch of we'll see. Speaking of we'll see, yeah, this is why I want to get that search function working. I don't know how to at this point. I am completely lost on how to get the search function working. I apologize. Moving on. So, some of you may or may not know that there was this boat that got stuck in the Suez Canal, and that was actually an extremely big deal. Now, that hasn't happened in a few years, and it causes trade issues and blah, 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 blah. But it got fixed, and the boat was released, and everyone can go, and everything's cool. Awesome. There are other things that are related to this problem. I could point out the lack of infrastructure, because there are actually tools that exist now, and have for years, that could have prevented this situation from escalating the way it did. And I point that out because lack of building up of certain tools and lack of spending on this kind of thing is an extremely common human problem. I mean, after all, we haven't had a fire in years, so why should I bother to update, the smoke detector, and why should I bother to make sure my fire hydrant works? Or not my fire hydrant, my thing works. Now, speaking as someone who has worked in overnight backup and in network engineering, as well as just general security stuff, extinguisher, thank you, fire extinguisher. the whole reason you spend the time and money on those things is so that when things go wrong, you're good. And the disruption is minimal. So there's actually, yeah, Blackfile's correct. There's actually several layers of how much of a not giving a damn and not spending money that has been done on the Suez Canal and its in its general infrastructure with regards to ships and tugs and tows and cranes and ports and the widening of the Canal itself. There are several things that could and should have been done that arguably are still not being done. Now, they are springing for a couple new tugs, so that's something. But once again, they are continuing to not spend money on this because, it won't happen for another few years anyways, right? I want to re-stress, by the way, that the impact this has had in terms of, not just economically in terms of money, but economically in terms of goods, in terms of resources that are not, or were not, as a consequence of this, is gargantuan. But no, it's okay. Anyways, that's actually not what I'm here to talk about. That's like a prelude, because they're suing someone for $1 billion or $2 billion for this happening. Now, the reason I say someone is it's still kind of in the air who they're suing, because who do you sue for that? They might say the owners of the boat, in which case, okay, so that's 3 separate companies. Technically 4, actually, depending on how you define that, because of the unique and weird nature of international trade. Do you sue the governments that allowed that to happen? Do you sue the people who are on the boat because they can't pay? Who are they going after for this money? Now, the funny thing, as I was thinking about this, what's most likely to happen here, because once you get to a certain digit range, a little bit of info for some of you, once you get to a certain digit range, usually 7 digits and up, money doesn't actually change hands. Like it's not like they get a check for $1 million or $1 billion. It doesn't happen that way, because most people don't have that kind of specie just lying around, right? So instead, what usually happens is either a trade of value, something that is considered to be a certain value, like stocks or futures or something that, shares and something, stuff like that. I know I just listed 3 things that are basically the same thing, but it's true. Or, and this is another interesting one, sometimes they trade in, I don't know how better to put this, favors. Let's say, for example, that I'm trading with Darth Tyrant, and I'm trying to give Darth Tyrant $1 billion. Now, I give him a few $100,000 cash. Boom, here you go. The rest of that is, all right, Darth Tyrant, for this company and this company that you own, you no longer have to pay taxes on these things, and anytime you use this service that I provide that is necessary for your companies to exist, it's free of charge until you've filled up the bill, so to speak. It's stuff like that, right? And it strikes me that this might be the kind of thing that they're going for. Concessions and value rather than actual money. Which is funny in its own right, because not only does that not really help them with the infrastructure problem, but it just shows how kind of short-sighted and stupid this whole thing is. I mean, I understand the human need for blame, but grow up. Anyways, moving on. To move into things that are slightly more positive. Did you know that No Man's Sky is still getting updates? It's just weirded me out at this point. Now, I mean, the updates themselves are whatever. I don't actually care. But no offense. I'm done with the game and I've moved on. But what's interesting to me, what I'm curious about, is how do I play this? How acceptable this is. How good of a thing this is. Because on the one hand, what they did leading up to launch was, how do I put this as nicely as I possibly can? Scum. But on the other hand, the game has been developed from being a joke that can go to hell into something that is an actual video game. It's the Fallout 76 path, right? And this is something that I feel like has been happening more and more. And how many times Have you heard someone say, "Oh, you should play insert game name here. It's actually good now." And this is just kind of a weird approach. And on the one hand, if we were to look at this purely moralistically speaking, this is probably something we shouldn't encourage because this is garbage. Like, this is saying, you go to a fast food restaurant and you order a burger and it's junk. And it's just absolutely it's, what is this? And then they're like, sorry, come back tomorrow. We'll give you a free burger. And you come back tomorrow and they do give you a free burger and it's actually good. It's like, here's the thing. Because there's another asterisk to this, because of course there is. I don't know how true this is. I can't know how true this is. But I have to point out that this might be just the reality of the industry right now. That because companies are stupid, and they are, as I've said many times, even purely economically, trying to rush a product in order to hit a deadline for some stupid arbitrary reason, like licensing rights to ancillary products like toys and whatnot, or because of the fact that you're trying to hit a certain mark in your quarterly report, is actively, legitimately, self-harmingly stupid, even purely economically. Let's ignore that for a moment. But the fact that companies keep doing that over and over and over and over, because companies are scum, is the fact that this just might be where we're at in terms of gaming, the gaming industry specifically, where certain companies are going to be staring at this situation like, well, we're not going to be allowed to develop the game until it's done because of blah, 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 whatever reasons. So we can smash out garbage at launch and then patch to reasonability. Or we can not put out the garbage and then abandon it and move on to the next thing. And it feels like those are the only real choices in these types of scenarios, right? I've got another example of this one, by the way. Street Fighter V. Now, I don't know how many of you are part of the fighting community or are part of Capcom or Street Fighter or any of that, but Street Fighter V is probably a really good example of a game that launched and was just, especially in comparison to the excellent Street Fighter IV, I forget the subtitle, not the original Street Fighter IV, the Ultimate Edition of Street Fighter IV that had come out pretty recently to that. So going from Street Fighter IV Ultimate whatever to Street Fighter V was just a and then they kept patching it, and then they kept adding things, and they kept developing it, and blah, 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 and then Street Fighter V became awesome. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say awesome, it's overselling it, but it is something that is considered to be a good game, and it's something that actually hits tourneys now. You know? This may just be one of those, that's how you do it problems. In my notes, I just have No Man's Sky, Reality versus Idealism. That's all I wrote down in my notes. Plus the link, because I always put the links in the description. The other thing I gotta add here, if I might be so bold, I've noticed a problem. I shouldn't say it that way. No, I'm gonna say it though. I'm gonna be honest. There's no reason to lie. I've noticed what I consider to be a problem in that some amongst the gaming community tend to forget a little bit too easily and just kind of let things go. Now, we don't actually see a lot of that here amongst you all on this show, but if you go to threads or posts or comment sections or whatever, you will see a fairly large amount of, why are you still talking about such and such? Or, well, they fixed such and such, so it's fine now. Or in some cases, they just move on completely and it's just gone from their memory. Honestly, Blizzard is probably the biggest example of this particular problem. What? No, Blizzard hasn't done anything terrible. What are you talking about? Now, don't mistake me. I'm not saying we should harp on something over and over and over, but there's a difference between harping on something constantly and make sure to remember that this junk happened. You keep that in the equation, you know? Now, No Man's Sky, to bring this back to No Man's Sky, No Man's Sky was kind of a unique case. There was... the lead up to No Man's Sky is just... wow. Is all I could say to that. But No Man's Sky is something of an example of this, and there are plenty of people who are like, you know, it's and I feel like part of it, this is purely presumption. I don't actually know. I feel like part of this is just the fact that, well, life sucks, so we might as well take what we can get. That mentality, right? Well, the lead up to, you know, No Man's Sky sucked, and the actual launch sucked, but at least the game's good now, right? Well, yeah, Blizzard was actively in support of, you know, suppressing human rights and all that fun stuff. But, you know, at least we're getting a new expansion out of it. You know, that kind of a thing. I don't know. I bet you money that inside of a year people will have forgotten about the Cyberpunk launch. Which I've talked about several times on this show and don't feel the need to reiterate. I don't know. I am not trying to be alarmist. This is just the kind of thoughts that bounce around in my head. Personally, I actually agree with you, Imperial Star Destroyer. I've said this many times before, there's a very, very common pattern that's been happening for 40 years now, going back to the 70s, where a gaming company will exist, and then it will grow bigger, and then corruption or corporate practices or general garbage will get involved, and then several of the key people at that company will either retire or leave to make a new company, and then the new company will get bigger, and then the cycle repeats. And this is not a joke. This has been happening since the 70s. What is the core of that problem? Actually, I think the core of that problem is most of the people who get involved in money don't understand economics. I mean that sincerely. I think that most of that... I think a huge amount of problems in human society, including in video games, are people who legitimately do not understand how economics work. And so they just kind of hire people whose only job it is to run the business side of things, and so the only thing they care about is the business side of things. So they run things from the business side of things, and then cycle, right? I could also point out other things that I don't want to get into because we're drifting into polemic territory here, but let's just say that there are encouragements inherent in the system for people to be short-sighted. That's the biggest one right there. I mean, there's corruption, there's, you know, there's scummy tactics, there's scams and all that fun stuff. But honestly, the short-sightedness is probably one of the biggest core issues there, I think. My opinion. So, yay. Anyways, now we've drifted way off topic. I have something mildly positive to talk about. I actually have two things to do really quick. First of all, let's pull this up here. Just really quick. Don't worry, I won't waste your time with this so much. If you want to leave, I'm just going to do two more quick things before we start the Stream of Nations. So, whoops, hang on. Okay. Let's see how this works, shall we? Now, I'm not actually going to do a full speed or anything. Where's this save? Oh, God, that's the Ridley fight. I'm not doing that. We'll do this, because this is frame perfect. Whoop, I screwed that up already. So you're probably wondering why I'm even bothering here. That's terrible. Oh, that's terrible, too. Am I doing this? It might not be working. That's what we're testing. So this is the controller that I put back together. I had to manually replace the battery. Oh, it's kind of working. No, that is not working right. That's interesting. Let's try this. I can't imagine why. Yeah, it looks like it's not working. Damn, that sucks. There's no game I know as well and as precisely as Super Metroid. I figured this would be... Oh yeah, that's not working either. So, it looks like this controller is just going to be trash. That sucks, but that's okay. Oh well. Yeah, that's 3 buttons that are not working properly. Oh well. Shrug. I've always got the PS4 controller. I actually still have the backup PS3 controller, but now I don't have a backup PS3 controller, so that's why I bought the battery. It doesn't surprise me it's not working, to be completely honest. Putting that thing back together was a colossal pain. As I've mentioned earlier on stream, the battery's unsecured, but has to be in a very specific spot for the back to fit on it. So, you know, massive pain to get in there. The other thing, this is a really minor thing, I just thought, just for fun, I'd kind of make this a thing. I should have done this at the beginning, but I forgot. Just, you know, because I'm a loser and a moron and nobody likes or cares about. So, we have reviewed FF4 on the DS, FF6 on the GBA, FF1 and 2, Pokemon Shield, and FF10. These are the ones I came up with during my recent audit. And of course, we just finished Pokemon Shield. So I just thought we could start adding the games live as we do so. So there's this Switch games. We've got DS games, which go down here. Well, just handheld games. Go back here. There's 1 and 2 and 6. And then PS2. Where's my PS2 stuff? Ah, there it is. You can't even see it. Sure isn't. There we go. I'll add the PS2 stuff down here by the PS1 stuff. I got along with Soten and FF12 and FF10 too. I've also got a rather large pile of other games that will be getting added. We're not playing the Game Boy version, but this is actually the copy of Dragon Warrior 2 that I have here. Although I have a couple other ones too. I wanted to show these off too while I'm here, just for the hell of it. I've talked about the Mega Man, classic Mega Mans, right? You ever see the NES box art of Mega Man 1 through 6? Because it sucks. So, came up with some custom ones instead. So here's Mega Man 6. And put these in order. There's 5. I do not, Imperial Star Destroyer, I do not want that crappy art on my shelf. I would rather just have something blank. There's 4. 3, of course. Got my boy Proto up there up front. There we go. Classic. The one everyone loves, even though it's not that great. And of course, the original. I actually rather like this one. You can just kind of see the original 6 in the background there. I mean, there's back stuff too. Like, there's a whole hang on. There's a whole new thing in the background, and some art from the actual manual. That's manual art right there. I recognize it because I still have several of those manuals. So we're gonna get the 3. Hang on. And then some dorky art on the background. I love how dorky they look on the back of 6. Like, hey, I'll just the world tournament there. Anyways, just kind of wanted to show that off real quick. Mega Man 2 was the first game whose music I ever liked, and the first music I ever liked. Period. Actually, what's that for a fun thought? And I got a few others here, of course, like you do. I was actually debating what to do about this one, but then I realized I'm never going to review both of these, so I think when it comes to something like this, I'm just going to put both boxes up. Because I'm never going to review this, but I'm going to review this. Of course, that leads to some questions, like, are there some previous versions I would like to review, in addition to the remake version? And the answer to that is yes. For example, is it over here? Actually, I think it's over here. I'm not going to pull it out. But I have, and yes, I don't tuck in. Sorry, all. I've been thinking about going ahead and someday reviewing FF1 on the NES, just for the hell of it. Just to see how much it holds up, especially compared to the original. The one I really want to review is actually FF4 on the SNES, because that's going to be interesting. And because FF4 on the SNES is substantially different from FF4 on the DS, so... Anyways, thank you, Dream Whisperer. Very much, as always. Do you want to put it towards something a little more real? Wrong document. This one. And just while I'm talking, StarCraft 2, you got it. I actually recently blended all the StarCraft 2s into one, so you can just say StarCraft 2. So you know I suffer from headaches, right? So I'm going to try something tomorrow, because I can't do it today. So this is this new thing, and it's a heating pad with a massager and a pressure thing built in. And the whole point is it's supposed to release tension around this area. I'm actually wearing it wrong. Hang on a second. There we go. And it's supposed to release tension, and we'll see. Obviously, I can't actually test this until tomorrow during the lunch break, but I will go ahead and test it and see if this is any more relaxing, because resting your eyes is actually really important. It's part of the 20-20-20 rule, which I do try to do as often as I can. For those of you not aware, the 20-20-20 rule, because this is relevant, is if you work on a computer monitor long term, every 20 minutes, spend at least 20 seconds looking at something at least 20 feet away to relax the eye muscles. So I usually look like back there or just down here, kind of through the desk, because I have a glass desk, or over there or something like that. And just try to relax the eye muscles, because there's strain that happens over time. Anyways. Moving on. We are going to go in, I think that's everything. Let me double check. Yep, that's everything.